This is to President Trump and U.S. Attorney General William Barr. It is clear that you believe in the rule of law. It is clear that you do not approve of people rejecting their duties. But here in the Eastern District of North Carolina, that is precisely what has happened. Your U.S. Attorney has gone off the rails. His name is Robert J. Higdon, Jr. He refused to take notification of 22 felonies. He rejected everything, and he sent it down not by a lawyer. I ended up with one of the marshals, the court marshals, telling me that Bobby Higdon said everything you have requested is rejected. And then he had some idiot 20-ish, maybe even an assistant U.S. attorney, call me, who refused to give his name, refused to indicate whether or not he was a lawyer or not. It did not matter. He refused to actually be a part of the discussion because he didn't know what the law was. He had never read 18 U.S. Code number section 4, and he was who Bobby Higdon sent. Bobby Higdon needs to be removed from office, suspended at the moment, until you determine whether or not he did this awful thing. There's an ongoing murder that he has obstructed being reported, along with all the previous people who heard my request and denied it. You and Attorney General Barr got a request, but you are so protected that you don't even know that you got such a request. U.S. Attorney Higdon knows he got it. 4-star General Mike Holmes, head of the Air Combat Command, almost certainly knows he's got it. His general staff has been involved. They gave an order to a full bird colonel to do what he should have done 3 weeks before. He's the head of the Air Force Base here in this town. My town is Goldsboro, North Carolina, Wayne County. It is out of control. The police department approved within the hour the break-in by a man with a crowbar who has joined the murderers to kill by elder killing, by refusing to allow her the proper medical treatment. Among other things, this doctor never allows the curative for oral thrush in his office. He gives them a happy solution that makes them think it's gotten better when it has not. According to his nurse, that's all she ever has to prescribe, and she doesn't have a curative. And according to the doctor, weeks later, he said, I thought there was a curative in it. He's been doing this for years, and he thought there was. That's just ridiculous. This doctor should be removed. He should be removed now. He should be removed as a potential murderer. And in fact, he is murdering Henny Carlisle. And your U.S. attorney, your 4-star general, head of Air Combat Command, your colonel, head of the Seymour Johnson Air Force Base and head of the 4th Fighter Wing, could not obey the simple law that says I'm supposed to report it to them. What do? The obvious. They turn it over to the appropriate authorities to investigate. U.S. Attorney Higdon says, I don't investigate nothing, so I won't accept nothing. It's as though he can't read. Well, in fact, the young man he had called me hadn't even been told to look at 18 U.S. Code 4, and I'm not sure Bobby Higdon even bothered to look at it. He certainly isn't obeying it. And Mr. Trump, your U.S. attorneys are not above the law. There's a woman dying because they failed to give her her second round of chemo. They refused to give her her first round of chemo until I demanded it. They were going to wait 10 more days. She was already walking dead, and I demanded that we see him immediately, and we got her in there and got her 2 of the 3 days immediately, as quickly as these idiots could go. It is not right what they're doing. They are killing the elderly, and I have no doubt of it. I have a bunch of circumstantial events that when you put them all together, there is no doubt that this man is an elder killer who does it not for the money, but for the power of killing the elderly. A lot of elderly knows that they have been mistreated in hospitals. A lot of them know it. Well, this man showed it, and I could prove it by a strong circumstantial case in a court of law. And when she dies, I'm going to try for the rest of my life to get that circumstantial case presented against this man and his co-conspirators, which include parts of the hospital, parts of his oncology floor, some of his nursing staff undoubtedly, some not. The police department, absolutely. He's the one that told an out-of-state son, you can break into the home. I have enough control of the police department, you'll get away with it. Chief Mike West, Police Chief Mike West, has approved it now. The district attorney, Matt Telbridge, has approved it now. He has done nothing on urgent matters about where a life is in danger. You are, as the head of the country, supervising unknowingly the murder of a tremendous woman, a woman who gave 50 years of volunteerism to the U.S. Air Force, a woman who, among other things, spent 28 years doing tax returns for the military for free as a volunteer. The last 28 years of volunteerism was being the senior, the expert tax preparer, because everybody quits after a few years except for her. She deserves America to stand up and save her. Give her a chance, Mr. Trump. Catch these people quickly. Mr. Barr, you don't need Mr. Trump. Once you hear what the U.S. Attorney did, just contact me at the website Bryant Kittrell at Facebook, or Stop Elder Cleansing, stop.elder.cleansing at Gmail. Contact me at those addresses, and I will provide you with all the information you need to fill in the wide gaps I had to leave to get this thing on the YouTube and watched. Now, I will go ahead and refer you to the Trump notification of felonies that he has not seen, I admit, but the U.S. Attorney saw it, and he refused to do his job under the law. The law is clear. The law says I have to report it to him. What happened? Hold on. There we go. The law says I have to report it to him, to a civil authority. Well, you can't be more of a civil authority than the man in charge of prosecuting, and all he had to do was move it up to the investigative groups in the DOJ that work and coordinate with the FBI. He certainly couldn't use his FBI because they have refused. They have sat on a hostage situation, saying, among other things, they don't have enough men to look into it. Well, you can call. We've got 50,000 FBI agents in the nation. You could have called. 27 days later, they still hadn't called. And they said that they hadn't had time because I'd visited them too often. 3 times in 27 days was too little, not too often. These men need to be prosecuted. They are derelict in their duties, resulting in the potential death of Henny Carlisle. Please, Mr. Trump, Mr. Barr, Attorney General Barr, get this taken care of immediately. Do not let the murder occur. And if it does occur, prosecute everyone who refused to do their duty, to accept, once their authorities, they swore an oath to abide by the Constitution. They are guilty of breach of duties. They are guilty of obstruction of justice. They are guilty of felonies resulting in a death. So please, please, whoever sees this, get this to Attorney General Barr or to Mr. Trump's eyes, because the title is going to make them seem like total fools. And instead, they are not fools. They are just covered by too much protection and no way for them to hear about a corrupt U.S. attorney who needs to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of law, Robert J. Higdon Jr. Contemptible man, despicable man, and a really bad lawyer. This is William Samuel McAuley II. Fight the corrupt. Fight all the corrupt. Mr. Trump, I know you're going to try if you hear about this. I pray that this gets to you today. There's a little time left. I don't know how much time is left. Please contact me today, anytime, 24/7. And let's get this lady rescued. Let's end the FBI sitting on a kidnapping potential because they don't have enough men. How idiotic can you be when you say that? Well, they're the only ones taping the conversation, so they'll deny it. Well, I'll take a polygraph test anytime. Let's save a woman who gave 50 years of her life as a volunteer for the U.S. Air Force and whose husband was murdered by high-ranking Air Force officers who brought him in without warning him that the planes he was taking apart were infiltrated with Agent Orange, and he didn't even know much about Agent Orange because he had not been in the Vietnam theater. He had been a special mechanic working throughout the world with our third world clients. Incredible man murdered by Air Force corruption. Remove General Mike Holmes, remove Colonel Don Yates, remove Lieutenant Colonel Elizabeth Sprecher, and subject them to a court-martial, and then subject them, if that doesn't work, subject them to the U.S. Code. They deserve full punishment under every possible way that is conceivable. It is incredible that they could just not do their job. It's a simple law. You don't have to go to law school to read those words, Mr. Trump. You don't. Read them right now. Mr. Barr will tell you what they mean.